Hey guys, it's Charlene. Today I'm going to create a card with this absolutely adorable layered wishing well from Honeybee Stamps, and I'm going to be showing you some of my tips and tricks along the way. Here we have the layering guide, and so that gives me an idea of how many different colors I'm going to need for the dies. So I'll go ahead and start by picking out my cardstock. I've picked out my colors. I'm going to use a dark gray for the base of the well, and then I'm going to cut out two of the top layers so I get different colors of stones, a medium gray and a light gray. For my wood, I have two different colors of brown, and then for some of the accessories here, like the rope and the bucket, I'm going to cut these out of a lighter brown, as well as some ivory and some black. I've cut out all of my pieces. I'll start by putting together my bucket, and I have some 04.3 and 04.6 for this. This is my favorite way to add fun details to items that are supposed to look like wood. So I'll take the darker 4.6 and I'll run it along where any of the embossed details are. And it's really simple. Just run your marker right along the line. I'm going to do the same thing here for the back piece of the bucket. And then once I have done that, I'm going to bring out my 04.3, which is lighter. You also could do this with a blender if you wanted to. But I'm just going to go over the entire piece. And what that's going to do is it's going to help to blend out where the 4.6 is, and it'll just rest down in those embossed areas where we want that darker detail to be. I'm adding some glue here to the back of the top piece. This will layer right over that base piece. So I'm going to line these up. And then there are two bands that are going to go across the front. So I'll start by adding some glue along the line where the band will go for each of these. I decided to use the black details that I cut out previously for this. So I'll use my wax pickup tool here, and it's really easy. I'm just going to layer it right over the top there. And you can see it's so fun. That added little detail really makes it look like a nice bucket. Now, I decided to switch to light brown for my rope. I was going to use ivory, but I changed my mind. And so I'm going to go ahead and add this little black detail piece I have here. It's going to go on the left-hand side of the bucket. It angles up and to the right, and I'll put that on the back. Next, I'll add a small dot of glue to the embossed detail on the center there. That's where one end of our rope handle is going to go. So I'll pick that up and place it right over my dot of glue. Then for the second piece, I'll add a little bit of glue on the front right-hand side, and that's where that other black detail piece is going to go. I'll pick it up with my wax pickup tool and just place it right over the top to finish it off. For all of the wood planks that I've cut out, I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the bucket to create that really fun wood detail. So I've got my 04.6 going along all of those embossed areas. And now again, the 04.3, I'll just run it back and forth, helping that 4.6 blend out so that it only sits down in those embossed details. Now I can put together this top part of my well. You can see there are these two pieces that have a little bit of space on them where there is no embossing at the top. I'm going to set the one aside that has more blank space, and for the other one I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start with the handle. There's a little embossed circle here, so I'll add a dot of glue to the center. Then I can pick up the handle and adhere it right over the glue. Then this small piece of embossed wood is going to go right along the top where that area where no embossing is. So I'll add some glue right along that area, and then I can just pick the piece up and put it right to the point where it lines up with the embossed line that's on there. Hopefully that makes sense as you're watching this. Next, that little tiny spot that has no embossing left, I'm going to add some glue to it, and I'm going to lay this behind our top roof piece, and this will hide that non-embossed area. And then I'll just use my glass mat to make sure this is nice and straight along the two sides. I have all of my roof pieces here, and I'm going to start by adding glue to the back of the bottom piece, and this will line up all the way on the left hand bottom edge. And then the same for our top piece, it'll line up on that top left edge. So then there's a little bit of spacing that you leave in between the other planks. Next, I'll flip the whole piece over and add some glue along the triangle portion. And this is going to go over the full solid triangle piece. This is what's going to give that roof its final 3D appearance. Next, I'll add some glue to the back of this triangle piece, and it's going to lay right over the existing triangle there, and this will give the edge of our roof a nice finished detail. Okay, for our well, whenever you're working with stone, it works really well to use different colors of gray. That variation really helps to make a piece look more interesting. So I'm going to start here with this dark piece of gray that I have. I'm going to layer it over the lightest top portion. And then I'll take that top row of stones and glue those in the embossed details that are along the edge. So what we'll be left with is that dark gray is going to be our grout. Now we'll come and add glue along that entire piece on the back, and we can layer it over that dark gray well piece. I went ahead and picked out stones and alternated them just how I thought they would look nice. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue them in place. Once that's done, I can put together the well. I added a little bit of glue on the left-hand side there, and I can use that remaining piece that's going to support our roof on the left-hand side. Add some glue to the non-embossed area on there, and I'll flip over our roof piece and add some glue to the bottom of that other plank that's going to sit in front of the well. So now I can just line this up until I think it looks nice. For our pole, I'm going to add some glue on the back of the left-hand side and then on the top of the right-hand side. So this will go right along the center, and this is where our rope is going to look like it's hanging from. For our rope, I'll go ahead and glue along the back center of this so that it will adhere to that pole, and I just have to kind of pick where I want it to go. I think right about here looks nice. Our bucket is going to go on the right hand side, so that way that rope meets right up with the rope handle. So I'm going to add some just a tiny little bit of glue to the rope here at the top, so that way it'll adhere to the rope handle. And then I'll add some glue to the back of the bucket, so that way it can adhere to the well. Then I'll just carefully kind of finagle this. Lastly, to give rocks or stones more texture, it's a great idea to use some warm grays. So I brought in WG3 here, and I'm just going to add some groupings of dots here and there on the different stones to make it look like they have a little bit of texture. So here's our finished wishing well with all of that fun detail. For our background, I'm going to use the ginger jar stencils. Now these are meant for adding details to the ginger jar dies that are part of this release from Honeybee Stamps. But I thought these stencils would be fantastic for backgrounds as well. You can create a nice background stripe, and I think I'm going to use that one. Or there is this other one you could do a stripe with, and then this nice floral one, which I think would look really pretty as a centerpiece on a card. You also could do it kind of in one corner and then flip on the other corner to create a nice frame. So really handy stencils. You know, think outside the box with your stencils of how you can use them. I've went ahead and put this floral strip here, and I'm doing a pretty heavy hand here with some pumice stone. So this is going to go really nicely with our well. I'll go ahead and remove that stencil. What a beautiful pattern that is. And then cut this piece down using the 4th from largest rectangle die. I stamped out a sentiment using the So Special stamps and coordinating dies. This one says wishing you the best. And I did cut out a few extra die cuts and glue them to the back in order to give our sentiment a little bit more dimension. I have an A2 sized piece of light blue cardstock. It's going to be our background for our card. I added some foam tape here to the back of the stenciled panel, and I'm going to remove that release tape and just center it so I have that nice 1/4 inch border going around. Same thing for our well. I'm going to pop this up again with low loft foam tape, and I'm going to center this so that the left and right hand poles that support the roof are in the center of the card. I'll add some glue to the back of our completed panel and glue it to an A2 sized card base. Then I'll glue on my sentiment. So that's a tip for you guys. Save your sentiment for last. It makes it much easier to ensure that your sentiment is going to be straight on your finished card. For some bling, I brought in the Grab Your Passport gem stickers in this beautiful light blue. I did it in a triangle around the well. So here is our finished card. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. This could be for any occasion, even like a wedding, right? Or a bridal shower, or even just a birthday. A wishing well, I feel like, can be used for so many things. All right, guys, I hope that you picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so that I can continue to bring you more crafty content in the future. Until next time, happy crafting.